Sorry, Jason, right as I say it. All right. Special meeting, if we'd rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Then you didn't have to move any, did you?
Jackie, would you call the roll?
Member Hewlin. Here. Parker.
Present.
Selby.
Here.
Schroeder. Present. Peach. Here. Richardson.
Present.
Mayor Erickson.
Present. Moving on to item number 4, I need a first and second motion on a resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between the city of Indianola, Iowa and the Young Men's Christian Association of Greater Des Moines, Iowa.
Move.
Thank you.
It's easy.
Ben, would you like to fill us in a little bit about this?
Sure. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind couple of weeks, not only with surgery and being out of town, spring break, but with negotiations going on in the background as well. But I really do appreciate the YMCA and the good faith negotiations that have gone on over the last several weeks. Ultimately, this started back in December when Alicia DeSmith came down to talk to Andy and myself about some of the financial constraints that they were running into. They didn't have any asks at that time, but they just were putting it out there that they were running into some issues and having some shortfalls, and just more of a brainstorming exercise at that time. That kind of started a chain of events because it created a little bit of nervousness in our community, especially during the giving campaign. And it ultimately resulted in them coming down in late February with their official ask, which was to seek additional funding from the city of Indianola to help with their operations. The amount that they were seeking for was $400,000 and operational contributions. And at that point, we as a city staff really felt that we were better positioned to look at the operations of the facility and be able to work with the existing staff that have done an exceptional job and work with the advisory board who likewise done an exceptional job and all the new membership and the excitement and the things that are going on there to transform what is a great facility into the next level and make it truly an asset unto our own here in the city of Indianola. I've been working with our department directors, with the YMCA officials, with the advisory board members, and negotiating a contract for mutual separation to wish them well in their future endeavors and for us to take our organization to the next level. As I mentioned, in talking to there's a lot of decisions that will need to be made in the weeks ahead as we transition, but we're anticipating a transition date of July 29th being the very last day for the YMCA to have operations in the city of Indianola, and July 30th be our first day. That was the target date that made the most sense for a couple of reasons. One, it was after the beginning of our fiscal year, so we could take on some software costs and things like that to make it a smooth transition. And the end of their fiscal year was August 31st. So it gave a month for bills to come through. So that was really our target that we were looking for. And even though the existing 28E agreement had a 2-year notification provision, what we didn't want to see happen is that the YMCA would start to meet that gap through operational cuts in devastating ways that could impact our members. Our ultimate goal in this entire negotiation was to make it as seamless as possible for our members, for our advisory board, for the employees that serve our community so very well. And I think that's been reflected in the organization or the agreement that you have before you. Basically, the intent is for them to hand over the keys, for us to transition the employees in, and for us to have a transition period where we will work out all the bumps in the road and then be able to take it to the next level. I was referring to our Parks and Recreation director. We were trying to figure out, well, we got to call it something here. And in the short term, we've got it called the Indianola Community wellness facility or the Indianola Eye. And I love that he coined the name Indianola Eye because that really is who we are as a community and where we're going with this transition. That is before you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. You've had the agreement published. And again, I just want to wish the YMCA well and their future as we separate ways.
Anyone have any questions? I have a little let everyone else go first.
Very kind. I know I've had several people ask me already today, will the city honor the silver sneakers? Part of what the Y is accepting. Will we have a similar program?
So the Silver Sneakers is a specific to an insurance company. Each insurance company has its own program for which they provide membership contributions for their senior members that would be accepted at the Indianola Y and in the future in our facility. We've worked with the the YMCA staff to incorporate in the agreement a transition or training period so that we could understand which programs are out there, which we need to sign up for, and how to make it so that that is also a seamless transition as well. We anticipate making really no changes, at least in the first several months, to the programming, to the rates, to anything else, because that's the thing that we need to work out is all the bugs that we need to set up our own relationship with Silver Sneakers. We need to set up our own with the other silver programs that are out there so that the members can continue to have a membership here in our facility.
That was one I got 4 times today and
Great.
It's
our intent. Absolutely.
Our intent was to continue those programs. And then you kind of mentioned we'll eventually look at rates, but at this point it's going to stay the same. And then if somebody does not want to stay, say they want to cancel their membership, is that something they can do before this transition?
So based upon your approval, there's a whole series or a chain of events that are anticipated. Once if you approve this, a press release would go out along with effects, an FAQ document to answer any questions from the press. But prior to that, a notification will be sent to each member by email, each donor, employee as well, and the advisory board members. That's what's supposed to take place. And it's basically to set up a process by which we can start the transition period. Our goal is to have the exact same software so you can use your phone and walk in and utilize the facility the exact same way. And that will make it easy because what our goal is to send an invitation to all of the members of the Indianola YMCA and basically have a check mark box if they want to become a member of the Indianola Eye. And with that check marks, they are giving their permission to have all of that information transferred over into our programming and be able to have a seamless transition. Our HR staff will be working with the employees. We anticipate a conditional employment to every employee of the YMCA so that they will be able to perpetuate their employment as a City of Indianola employee. We do have state regulations and our own policies that we need to make sure we do background checks and drug screening, but it is a conditional offer of employment. And then as of a few days ago, about a week and a half ago, when we were getting to that portion of the agreement, all of the donations that have been made have been set aside and unopened with the intent that the YMCA would send those back to the donors and invite those donors to either make a donation to the Indianola facility or to the YMCA and let them make that decision. So they wanted to act in good faith in that capacity as well.
I really, in looking through it, I really appreciate the time that you staff, I know Heather, as well as the YMCA board did. One of the things, that it got down to so many details that they would remove names from direct mailing pieces and email lists. And I just really appreciate that you guys spent so much time on it. So thank you.
Yeah.
The other thing that I know that there was some discussion about financial review of things as well. And I had a question too about, you know, tax revenues going to pay for this facility, and essentially I just want to address that at the moment. It's going to be based on community support. I mean, as long as we have community support, people stay with the Y or stay with the Indianola facility and use the facility and do everything that they have been doing in the past, but only with the city of Indianola. Am I wrong to say that shouldn't be any revenues down the road? I know there's going to be a few year or two here that maybe we have to do a little bit, but in the long term,
It
that's the goal.
is our goal to operate this independent of any taxpayer dollars. There will be a transition period and there's a little bit of unknown out there. If you look at last year's financials, the facility ran short about $300,000. Of that 300,000, about 200 of that went to the association itself. That left a shortfall of about $106,000, I believe. Of that $106,000, 70,000 went to the city for rent. So that really was a shortfall of about $36,000. However, during that period, since those financials ended last fiscal year, and now there has been an additional 500 members to the facility. So there is great community support. The advisory board's working really hard. There's great membership drives. What we don't know is what kind of dip we'll have in the short term before we come up to a higher plateau. We know that any kind of change makes people nervous and there's some concern. And so that's why we consider it essential that we have our great staff at the YMCA, now Indianola I, be retained so that we're making it as smooth as possible on the members. And then I think really I'm optimistic about the future of our facility. I think there's a lot of people out there that have been concerned over the last several years and that now that they know that their dollars are staying locally with a local facility, they can invest in our community, see those dollars grow. And I see membership growing. I see, because of that anticipated growth, different programming options that we might have in the future, different pricing options that we might have in the future. And I see a great partnership between our existing Parks and Rec department and the Indianola I to make this a great facility.
Questions? Jackie, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Hewlin.
Recuse.
Parker.
Aye.
Selby.
Aye.
Schroeder. Aye. Beach.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Moving forward, there are some people here. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Feel free to come forward.
Name is Mike Van Newell. I'm here to represent myself and my wife, Dr. Candace Smith. It was quite alarming and kind of somewhat easy to know that I was mentioned in your Exhibit A. My wife and I made a donation, and it is in Exhibit A to the Des Moines for swim years. That was made mostly to our team here in Indianola, because we were the only Y that our kids did not have that capability to practice. So as you can see, there's 42 units that are mentioned in your Exhibit A. And I would ask the council consider that one of two options, that they would remain within any future team that might be developed, or option two, that I can retain those swim years for or donating them to whatever club association that our kids will go to. Heather, if you had anything to do with our name getting mentioned in there, thank you, because it was a relief to know that, because I know at otherwise when they've done this in the metro, they got dispersed amongst the other Ys. My wife and I have been here for 3 years and really have ingrained ourselves into the swim team that's out of the Y. And would like to, one of those two options, but I would appreciate any consideration that those would be allocated either to any future team, and that, because they are kind of, they're specialized tools for swim teams. So either that or us being able to retain them and donate them. Thank you for your consideration. And I don't know if you guys can do anything with that tonight, but maybe
So-
it's- yes.
First of all, thank you so much for your donation. I've never had the opportunity to meet you before. I've met your good wife.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
sorry, you had to get it on this thing.
Swimming program is extremely important to our community. And we want to, while we won't be part of the Marlins organization, we do envision having a program here. We don't know what it will look like yet, but we knew that it was shared both by staff and by the advisory board, how important those swim airs really were and how critical that donation of yours was to our community. And that's why they've been specifically identified by name.
Thank you.
They need to take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience? Councilwoman who would like to make an announcement.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to everybody for just support, working with us. It has been challenging and exciting in the last couple weeks. We're just really looking forward to the future. The staff leadership team, we have an incredible advisory board and many are representing who are here today. And so I want to thank you for all that you've done. But mainly in light of what's going on, I'm sad to say tonight that I am going to go ahead and resign effective immediately. And I have my letter here this evening, but I also want to take this opportunity just to share some thoughts that I had wrote down. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to serve our community. It has truly been an honor and a privilege. I have absolutely loved it. It's an honor to work with fellow council members that are here currently and the ones previously. And with the excellent staff, it's really awesome to not only live in such an incredible community, but to be involved and feel like I was able to give back. I plan to continue giving back and working even harder. It has been challenging working for the association. We love the mission. We love the work that we do and the impact that we have on the community. But there always has been a little bit of, we'll say, frustration. Working with what works for the whole metro area is very different than what works for the Indianola local community. So I do appreciate the people that have always stood by that, understood that, and still stuck with us. So thank you for that. And while my resignation is unexpected for all of us, I'm responding accordingly to the circumstances in good faith due to professional considerations. That's the only reason that I'm doing this. Otherwise, I would have completely loved to finish out my term. But I feel that I'll have the most meaningful impact forward, just different position. So I'm hopeful that the community will step up to find someone who is eager to serve with the shared love that I have for this community. So thank you.
I would say, Heather, that you will be missed. You made some very valuable and timely comments in the short time that we've been able to work together on the council there. And on so many issues. I appreciate everything you've done. So thank you for your service.
Say anything before?
I could not have done what I've done and worked as well if it hadn't been for Angie and Mike and Heather throughout this entire process, and to be as professional as Heather has been, wearing multiple hats and being able to hear and know things on one side and hear and know things on the other and still act in good faith on behalf of both parts. There's no one that has acted in more professional accord, and I truly look forward to extending a conditional job offer to Heather to continue in the role that she's in and see her as a key to our future success.
I actually really love I love what I do, and I'm really excited to be doing it for the city.
I would like to thank you, Heather. You have always brought a sense of decorum, contagious personality, and enthusiasm to this table, professionalism, as well as I'm sorry for the YMCA that they're losing such a good employee. I am so excited. I know you're paramount. Why? and for you to grow this. And that is, I don't think there's any debate. Everybody who goes there loves Heather, so.
I greatly appreciate it.
Before we know it. Fierce advocate for everyone involved, and
That means a lot.
we're certainly gonna miss you, and we're gonna see a lot of you though, so we're excited. And everybody join the Indianola Eye for it.
I would just like to add, I'd just like to add to Heather, as part of the steering committee, seeing the job that you have done. It's just been fantastic and outstanding, and you really challenge to face, and you've done it really well. Been very successful in your work, and I think that there's no reason for anyone to worry that it won't be great going forward. I think better than it has been. And again, you faced so many challenges and done such a good job. I don't think people really, but I didn't know until I was on the steering committee, the parts of it, I mean, we all understand what jobs are and things like that, but there's so many moving parts, and I think you've just done a great job, and we will miss you on council. I don't totally understand.
You for all your kind words, but I do want to say I have an incredible leadership team. I have an incredible advisor board. We have just incredible staff that are just love being at the Y. So it's not, I can't take credit. It's really everybody else that makes it all happen. So thank you.
Okay, well, can I get motion to adjourn? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Was waiting for you to make the motion. We were gonna give it